to watch other people rise up and do things differently. We need better models. That's why we need a process that challenges us to consistently do things that are uncomfortable. And you're, even though you're telling yourself every day that no, I'm growing every day, you're likely growing in areas you're comfortable with, not in areas you're not comfortable with.
So true. And you bring up the process, and I think this is one of the things I think about what will keep a coaching business the same is sales process. If the sales process that you have is not a system, but it's more of a mystery, or it's more of a patchwork of occasional things that happen, that sometimes you'll get lucky and move it forward and get a client or whatever, and
But that's been one of the best sources of like clients for me, because I'm like, I just want to get on a call with them, see if I can support them. Yeah.
where's the big chunk? Where's the big focus, right? What is it? And if you have, as I do often, have too many things on the go, it eats into your ability to focus on something, and it eats into the time that you have available because now you're scattered between many things. So my recent thinking, I've actually been purging lots of projects out of my life, just like drawing water lines and like trying to get a very, very clear distilled version of what it is that I'm focused on, right? And that's the process because there's a lot of things on my plate, right?
Yeah.
And so just like you, just like everybody, there's a billion things, but like that's partly my own doing, right? And so
Yeah.
do you have a thing that you're spending 10 to 12 hours every week on reliably week after week after week, or are you bouncing back and forth between a lot of things? It's like a checkpoint for coaches right now.
And just to put it in perspective, naturally speaking, if you're running a life in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you probably have multiple things happening. There's no
Right.
way to get out of that. I know, Daniel, you have kids, you have family. That is a thing in itself.
Multiple
Like that,
businesses, like
that's
there's,
multiple businesses, and
there's so
within
many things.
there, multiple projects. And this is why it makes no sense to have multiple projects, because your life is multiple projects to begin with. And so I look at just one chunk area to look at. So I've even like stopped myself from saying, even if I don't have a commitment, you know how we say, I'd love to learn this. I stopped saying that because
Yeah,
that
don't
kind of
bother.
creates some bandwidth problem in my mind. So, for example, my family, my wife, my kids, they're always doing something artistic, and I go there, I'm like, oh, I really want to do this. They're painting, they're doing crocheting, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And I literally found myself, I look at that and I wanted to learn a lot of that stuff. In the past, I'd be like, oh, I really want to do this. Now I stop myself. I'm like, no, I want to do this, but it's for later. But if I say it now, there's a part of my energy going right now. I don't have the energy doing it, and I accept that.
Yeah.
The energy that I have is to take care of myself and run the business and be there for my family. That's the energy I have left. And I had to be honest about that. In the past, I'd be like, no, I could do this. I could play guitar. I could learn this. Like I could, but they will all be scattered.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
You
actually
know
that's
how to
something
play.
that's happened to me recently too, is like music is a big part of my life, right? And it's different for everybody, right? Like I recognize music is not a
Yeah.
huge part of your life, it's a big part of my life. But
It is a big part for you.
in the last few months, I've actually reprioritized and done a little bit less music because I wanted to focus on other things, other complicated family situations or like projects or whatever that I need to focus on, to move like really, really important things forward. And so there's been some intentional trade-offs, right? And so again, part of that process of purging is like, how can I simplify my life to the point where it's a very small number of things? Because it's the small number of things that get all your attention versus the large number of things that get almost no attention relative to one another, right? And like that's the way to not never push anything over the line.
Yeah. And I want to put this in perspective in terms of investment, in terms of time, energy, money. I'll start with money because it's a big pain point for a lot of coaches. It was actually one of our coaches a couple of years ago who directly sent me a message, and he had invested about 10,000 in his coaching certification. Most coaches don't even do that. And he directly asked me, he's like, when you started your business, the first 2 to 3 years, how much did you invest in your business? And he knew that I had invested the first 10,000 because we were part of the same certification. But then I told him in the first 3 years, I invested close to $20,000 in my business. And it was other programs that I had to take to learn some of the business stuff. And that's all he needed to hear. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know what was normal." It's like I thought it was too much for me to spend 10,000 or invest 10,000 in my program. Now keep in mind, just put that in perspective. Most people barely spend a few $100s on their business. That's in terms of money. And then he was asking more things in terms of time and energies, like how much time do you spend? And we talk about that often in our community, like where is your time going? And now most coaches, their time usually goes towards building website, designing their content strategy. We don't do any of that stuff. We talk about where exactly your time and energy needs to go to for you to actually build a sustainable business. But for example, I was looking at my profit and loss just this past year. Now, of course, I'm in a different stage than a lot of coaches starting out or in the beginning stages. If I were to look at just my investment of money, it was close to $50,000 on different programs for me to grow coaches, communities, masterminds, and another 60,000 for my team. Like it was close to 110, $120,000 on my business
Investments into the business, right?
investment into the business. If I were to kind of, and it has increased year after year, it hasn't decreased. So if I was actually doing a rough calculation in my head, it's well over $300,000 over the past few years. Like I'd say 6, 7 years, well over
Yeah.
300,000.
If I look back at that, at my coaching career, I was investing in it even before I started in different ways. But yeah, I mean, the first year, tens of thousands of dollars for sure in the first couple years,
Yeah,
and I think since then it's probably six figures in
yeah,
my own business, right? And again, I have multiple businesses, and so coaching has not been as full time as it has been for you, Faisal. But I've still been investing significantly to the point where my wife is like got a radar up against any program I want to invest in. She's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, let's talk about this. And it's good too because oftentimes, this is true for me, but also true for many coaches that I've talked to, which is they think that this one program will finally teach them the thing that they're gonna do, but then they take it and then they don't implement, or it's not really the thing they needed at the time. And so, like, I've done that so many times I can't count. Like, invest in something that didn't really produce the effect, or didn't really match what my needs actually were, or maybe that I didn't even commit to. And why I'm sharing this is that part of the challenge is the consistency and the clarity. Like you need to be
yeah,
consistent about the thing that you're working towards, and a lot of that comes from inside, not from somewhere else. It has to come from inside. And yes, you need guidance, you need community, you absolutely need like those things, but you need implementation and consistency rather than it's like not the next thing I need to learn. It's the next thing that I'm building, that I'm creating, that what's the next level for me and my habits and like how I
yeah.
approach the game.
So I ran into a coach recently, I think it was last year, or the last few months, and I actually felt really like I felt for her because she had spent a few $1,000s on like I think close to 20,000
You
plus
mean you felt
on.
felt sorry like that she had done that?
Yeah, well, not that she had done that, that she hadn't gotten the ROI that she was looking for, and she was in a very challenging situation with her personal problems. She was
Mm.
running out of funds, out of energy. She had to take care of kids. I really like, and it was a sales call for CMC, and I told her, I'm not offering anything for you. Here's what I'm going to help you. I'll send you a bunch of resources. Work on it. You've been paying for a lot of things, but you're not getting the ROI. And this is what she said. She's like, I've been following this path of becoming an influencer, building my website and my social media presence and all this stuff. And here's the funny thing. She's like, everybody thinks that I have a functioning, sustainable business because it looks like that, but I haven't made a dime. And this is the challenge in investing in your coaching business is that a lot of the times people fall for marketing systems that are not set up for mindset, life coaches, or high performance coaches, or transformational type of coaches, anything related to people's behaviors, habits, psychology. Now, it's set up for overall coaches and consulting type of business. And and
Or even
and
other
not
kinds of businesses that are not for coaching.
Yeah, and they generally call them coaches, and you will see that they use the terms very interchangeably. And on top of that, it's created by some marketer who had created success a decade ago, and they're not doing the things that they were doing, then they're in a completely different space in their business, and they don't even know if it applies to people right now. And so they fall for it and they create this model that doesn't actually help their business. It helps put them out there and they look like they're influential in some way, but it's not really working. And so, and the way I look at it is if you're a coach who's wanting to build a sustainable business and grow in the process, find a community of coaches who are actually doing building businesses, not because they're coaching other coaches, but because they actually run a coaching business of their own. And that's why in CMC, one of the things that we talk about a lot is that our primary thing is not CMC. We started this because one, we needed help in the beginning, but we saw that other coaches were struggling with the same thing. I literally sent an email a couple of weeks ago to a coaching certification community and telling them like the same problems I had 10 years ago, the coaches still have the same problems, and they keep getting and even their community kept promoting marketing programs that don't actually serve them because they think it'll help them. Usually they put in money into that, nothing happens. So the way I invest in my growth and my business's growth is I actually, if it's a business program, I'll look at it. For example, I invested in a program middle of the year that was ritual advance intensive. I said I'm gonna make 10 times that. That's usually my goal is that if I put in $5,000, I better make 50,000 in the next year. I give myself a year. I'm already like 30,000 plus from that program. So I look for a specific ROI, and sometimes that's not specific ROI in terms of business, but I have clear milestones that this is going to help me grow in this way.
It might be strategic rather than financial, right?
Yeah,
So
it's not, but I have clear. It's not about, oh, I need to get through this course and watch programs. For the book program I went through, I need to finish the book and I need to use it as a part of my branding. That was a strategic decision, and even though there wasn't a monetary thing associated with it, there is on the bigger strategy side, but I needed to make it a part of now my goal for the next 6 months is everything needs to align under a brand that connects to the book. So the book needs to be published. I'm doing my workshop next year. Everything is getting aligned under that umbrella. That was a strategic decision that had a clear ROI on the other side of it. If I'm getting hiring a coach on the personal development or business side, I need to understand what it's doing. I don't think coaches spend enough time because we love personal
I
development.
used to invest in programs like expensive programs like on the day I heard about them. I don't do
Yeah,
that anymore. I'm much more thoughtful about it, especially with my wife's help me there. And
yeah,
we actually talk through like what is the intention of this program? Why would I be investing in this? What is the ROI expected? How can we know whether it's working or not? And I actually go back and forth with the people who I'm buying from, asking them questions that come up in that discussion. And like I think it's a really valuable part of pre-committing before you buy a program to like pre-commit to like
yeah.
what is the schedule? Can I block this out? Do I have the time for the schedule that I need to attend? Do I don't need to attend? Can I like get help in a certain way that I need? And this is one of the reasons why I think CMC particularly is going to be a very effective program compared to the rest of the industry because most programs across the board that I've seen are very focused on teaching and they're very focused on like here, come to our trainings. We're going to certify you in a method, or we're going to teach you how to do this one thing through our recorded sessions. But they're not focused on implementation and supporting you through the more challenging part of actually doing the thing. So if you're getting certified in a particular tool, technology, process, whatever, they're going to give you the information, but they're not going to like support you through the part of it that's the hardest, which is that's the hardest thing to create because you need really good coaching skills to help people through that. You need to be able to facilitate, have a group session where you support people. You have to be able to do a tailored, targeted, custom support for people. And it's the implementation and the consistency that people need a lot of the time.